You've seen the look, that blank 1,000-yard stare from a younger colleague or barista that feels awkward and maybe even rude? But what if it's not rudeness? What if I tell you it's a sign of a brain under serious pressure? Today, we're unpacking the surprising psychology behind the Gen Z stare. We'll cover from cognitive overload to a radical and new kind of social honesty. The Gen Z stare has officially gone viral. This is probably why you're actually watching this video, because many people are interested in it and what it is, where it comes from. It's that long, neutral look that many have labeled disrespectful. For older generations like myself, Gen X's, a quick, polite response is a baseline sign of respect, so this stare can feel like a personal insult. But to just call it rudeness is to miss what's really going on under the surface. So let's dive a bit more into this for a second. One of the underlying drivers is what we call a cognitive overload. Gen Z grew up fully immersed in a digital flood of notification and information. Think of a brain like a computer with too many tabs open. It will eventually start to lag. That blank stare isn't disrespect. It's a nervous system trying to buffer. They aren't trying to be rude. They are often just mentally exhausted from a world that never logs off. It's adaptive dissociation. The stare can also be a protest against toxic positivity and emotional performativity. Older generations, like myself, smile through burnout. We still do. Gen Z, no. They eye lock you with the face of, I refuse to mask to make you comfortable. Beyond the overload, that stare is often a sign of something potentially even deeper. Studies have shown that Gen Z is facing mental health challenges at staggering rates, with nearly half receiving a mental health diagnosis. For a generation raised under a social media microscope, real-world interactions can feel terrifyingly high stakes. The stare is often a classic freeze response to overwhelming social pressure and just sensory overload. Then came the pandemic, which swapped crucial face-to-face interactions for screen during their formative years. One poll found 2/3 felt they had to learn social skills all over again. That stare can be a sign of that lingering social uncertainty. Think about this for a second. Those of you guys that drive a car, if anyone had you stop driving a car for a year and you got back behind the wheel, how overwhelming would it feel to drive in the freeway immediately? And I don't know if many of you guys had this experience, but it can be very, very overwhelming from a sensory standpoint. So when you have deprived transitional youth and the Gen Z population at large during the pandemic from social interactions and the external world, we're definitely going to see more avoidance, and we're definitely going to see a significant increase in the sensory integration or overload, as we have been seeing. So that stare may just be the way the brain is trying to cope and adapt to a very chaotic and noisy world. To back this up with some data we have from the Rowan Center, as a data scientist that loves tracking who calls our center and what the needs are of our community, we looked at data from year 2019 to 2024. And from 2019 to 2024, we saw a 908% fold increase in calls to the center from the Gen Z population for treatment for social anxiety. What's your take on this? Are you a Gen Zer who uses the stare to get through the day, or have you been on the receiving end of it, as I have too? You know, we have students here, we have postdoctoral fellows here. Often I come across interacting with them, and I can't tell you how many times I've walked away thinking like, what are they staring at? Like, did I do something wrong? So the next time you're met with a Gen Z stare, take a beat. It's rarely about disrespect. More often, it's a complex adaptation to a world of digital overload, intense anxiety, and burnout. This isn't about making excuses. It's about finding a little more empathy. By understanding the psychology, we can start to bridge the communication gap in all domains of life. Thank you guys. I appreciate the support.